Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're located on Montgomery Road, a couple doors north of the original Montgomery Inn, and across the street from Montgomery Cyclery. We have a website, audiobleelegance.com, and I read a monthly blog, and we also have an orphanage listing, which shows some of the latest used equipment that we have available. Do ask you to please subscribe. It's very important to us as we try to grow our channel. Tonight I thought I would answer some of the comments that I've received over, I guess, 285 videos that we've done. And one of the common ones was pointing out the prices of some of the equipment that's out there, how essentially unobtainable it was for the ordinary person. And since we run a nice little shop here, it's assumed that we partake in that game, I guess would be the best way of calling it. And we don't. We have Riga products, we have some Cambridge and Martin Logans. We have very affordable equipment throughout the store. It's not to say that it's all we'd like to do, but there's another side to it as well. A lot of people don't understand why some of the products in our industry exist, particularly ones of extraordinary price. And we're talking deep 5 digits, sometimes 6. And there's two aspects to this, really. Number one is that much of this extraordinarily expensive product isn't sold in the United States at all. It goes to the Far East. I was first made aware of this by Jeff Rowland as he changed his product line from marketing to products that could be affordable in the United States to those which would easily be snapped up in the Far East for the quality that he built. And he was kind of one of the first ones to alert me to that, and it grew to more and more manufacturers. The other aspect to it was that some companies learned that if they built a very expensive product, that by price alone, people would assume its quality and buy it. And this got commingled with another aspect, which what I call unobservable conspicuous consumption, which is people buying very, very expensive things that nobody else can afford simply because they can do it. And that aspect kind of is sad to me because it's not even a question of whether the product is any good or not. It just kind of comes down to sort of a showing of peacock feathers, I guess would be a way of putting it. And to me, in my way of thinking, that if you're going to be showy, so to speak, to me, I would put that money in an extraordinarily unique car or something else that many people could see, as opposed to maybe some family members and a couple close friends. So the conspicuous consumption is not conspicuous at all, but it just baffles me. And I came to that conclusion because many, many years ago, we represented a company known as Class A. And at that time, Class A was kind of a competitor to Bryston. They were building fine product. I guess another company that didn't make it in that time period as well was Sonic Frontiers. Building equipment for the audiophile, for the music lover, is the way I put it. But a change came when Class A decided to upscale their product. And they went to extraordinarily beautiful designs, very costly aluminum construction, all sorts of things. And we handled them for one season when they went that route. But their goal wasn't to build the best equipment. their goal was to build a reputation like Rolex, that people would want to own it because of the name that's on it. And so the whole marketing angle of it was very different than um, building a street rod for performance, I guess would be a way of putting it. And so that's not part of the industry that I'm particularly interested in, because I'm interested in the performance side. Its appearance, sometimes known as wife acceptancy factor, or WAF, was a nickname that was given. Really wasn't part of what we do. It really had nothing to do with music. You know, if that was your goal, then there's plenty of other things out there, lovely furniture, stained glass, all sorts of things. If you're into aesthetics, so to speak, audio has improved a bit in that area, in certain ways, but also sometimes at a horrendous cost, which is added to the price of product when you go away from a simple faceplate and you start having ones that are curved or have lights in them, all sorts of things, which have absolutely nothing to do with the performance of the product itself. It's more of a show appeal. And there have been some manufacturers who have gone so far as to have their product, but we'll make a product that's just a clock, sort of thing, but it fits in the rack, or meters, things like that. And that's not about performance, it's about show. And again, since it's in your home, there's not many people who really see it. So I kind of scratch my head and say, well, I'm really not sure why I want somebody to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a clock that fits in a rack. It's not what I got in the industry for, because I love music. So there is expensive gear out there, and there's for various reasons. They're not all for show. There are some that are quite serious, but I wouldn't assume merely because it has a very large price tag that let's stop for a second, let that go through. When they put that thing, I said, look, I'm running a music store, I can't have this, So, there is cause, again, for some equipment to be fairly expensive, but don't assume that because it costs a lot that it does the job very well at all. I've heard many very expensive systems, and at least 6 digits, if not going a lot deeper, that I would just shake my head and couldn't figure it out. And my wife would listen to it and say, why would I spend that type of money when I can get that already at Walmart? And there was truth to it. It's not what we do. We have a range that I think normal people can really enjoy. And, if you're into conspicuous consumption, to showy, and then, have it outside your house, or, because then everybody else gets to see it. So, it just strikes me as odd that, people relate price with performance, and it's really not true. Maybe you've spent a lot of money on what you thought would be a good meal, and when you're done with it, you realize, gee, I really didn't enjoy that. Well, audio products can be just the same. Except rather than spending 3 digits, maybe 4. I never spent 4. You realize that really you've made a mistake, sort of thing. So, as I said, I don't understand the inconspicuous consumption that I occasionally see peddled. And there were a number of people who came back from Expona in Chicago and said, I heard these really expensive systems, and I only went to the show because I wanted to hear these really expensive systems, not that they're even going to even have a chance at buying them, and If you want to do it a lot cheaper than driving to another city, to look at something that you can't afford, most of the localities have some form of home-orama or home shows, and most people can't afford those houses anyway, but you get to walk through them, so, it's a lot cheaper. You spend $12 and you get to see everything you can't afford. I just, as I said, I don't understand, you know, what our industry has done to itself. And I blame our industry as much for it as anything else. Oh, it's a kind of our take on it, but when you look at my videos, I'm typically not talking about, 5 and 6 digit price tag products. So if you want to pick on that type of behavior, my channel isn't the right site. There's plenty of others that you probably could enjoy doing that too, but I'm not part of that game. So we try to, give great value, good service to our customers, and that's what we do.